Welcome to the Queen Sugar podcast, and we're going to talk about episode 4 today. And today we're joined by two amazing guests. I'm going to start with the glue.
Yes.
Which makes it easy to know who it is. It's Ethan. Hey, Ethan, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Glad you could join us today.
Thanks.
We also have, if we talk about the glue, I guess we have to talk about the wordsmith. And we have Shaz Bennett, who's our showrunner this year. Hey, Shaz.
Oh, hi, everybody. So
Shaz is also a director on the series, and Shaz is one of our alum directors.
I know.
You directed for the first time in season
3.
Yeah.
I directed the very controversial episode where Remy and Nova go out on the lake.
Oh, yeah. People are still talking about that episode.
My first episode of TV ever. It was exciting.
Oh, yeah, I know. We had an event where we talked about directors and their first episodes of television and how important Queen Sugar was for that.
Yeah.
I always think about Ethan because he's like the world he comes into, women only direct. 'Cause we've only had directors on the show that were women.
Yeah.
Have you ever been directed by a man? Well, your last movie.
Oh, yes, definitely last movie. Yeah. And I think in one other thing I
Scottish
did.
play. We don't
That
say
was
it out
fun.
loud in a theater.
That was fun.
That was so cool.
Shaz, tell us just, after kind of coming into the Queen Sugar family, going down to New Orleans and directing, what are your reflections about Queen Sugar as a whole?
I mean, it is really, truly just a family. Like, it really feels like from the crew to the cast to the writers, all the directors, we're all really close. We still, stay in touch and, call each other for advice. And starting with Ava for all the way down, she's the one who set the tone for the show in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Last season, in season 6, I was a writer. So I got to kind of shape the story for season 6 and then directed the last 2 episodes. And then when Ava said, come on this season as the showrunner, I was so honored, but I was a lot of pressure because this is the final season. It's so beloved family. I don't want it to end. I was thinking of the last time I saw you in real life was your last day in New Orleans. It was so sad.
It was. It definitely was. I mean, it's been 7 years, and I'm 12 now, so it's been more than half my lifetime. And a lot of the season 1, I can barely remember it. It's very faint.
How old were you in season 1?
Be about 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking just, we had the baby this year on set, which was so great. But it's you've been the only kid that's been on set the whole time outside of your stand-in, your double who would be there while you were there. What was it like just being on set and working with adults like that every day?
I mean, it's definitely an interesting experience being around older people who really give you a lot of advice and tips because they've been doing it for a long time. So if I've ever needed help or a little confused by it, they'll come and help me, and it's really nice to have that whole connection with the whole Queen Sugar family.
A lot of people don't realize that even when you're a kid actor on set, you still got to do school every day.
Yeah!
What was that like, having to work and then go to school and then go back to work?
I mean, well, I'm homeschooled, so I do my independent study now, so this year all my stuff is on the computer, so it's not too bad. My teacher understands about it, so if I ever have a problem, I just let him know.
Yeah.
And usually it's not that bad. I always try over the weekend if I know that I don't have stuff to just try to get ahead whenever I have time because I'm I don't know the next time I'll be able to do it.
Yep. And I mean, I guess a lot of kids now know what it's like to be homeschooled because they stayed home for all the years because of the pandemic. But one of the things I always thought was great when we'd be on set and you'd have to go off for school is you had the best field trips because we'd be out sometimes at the farm. We'd be out in all these different locations and you got to run off into the field, wander around. What did you, and you have family from that area. What do you feel like those experiences were like being in New Orleans for such a long time?
I think it's been a really enjoyable experience because my dad was born in New Orleans, so I got to see my grandparents for this whole time, and I mean that was really a special time to be around your family for for those times, and I really enjoyed it.
I felt like we got to know your grandparents well, too, because they would come by and eat lunch with us sometimes.
Yeah.
It was always wonderful to see them come.
Your whole family was there.
Yeah.
Your little sister, your mom, and your dad.
Yeah.
It was so great.
And so, Shaz, what about you going into New Orleans? How did you like New Orleans?
It's such a great city. Like, I fell in love with that city. I want to live there. It was just like, it's so, it's such a, like, it's a fun city. Like, everywhere you walk, there's music playing, and, just there's lots of bars and great food, and just like, but then when you just be walking along, and there's like deep history, like really intense, deep history, like, all over down near the French Quarter. You're just walking, you're suddenly like, oh, right, this is like a really old city.
Speaking of wanting to get back to New Orleans, this episode starts off with Blue apparently wants to get home because he's getting suspended from school.
Yeah.
I know, Ethan, you've never been suspended from school, but how did you channel like your inner Blue to be so? But what he gets suspended from school from isn't like throwing milk at a kid or cheating on an assignment. He went in and hacked the computer system of the school to try to update the curriculum to be more accurate, which sounds very much like Blue.
Yeah.
Ethan, you would never do that, though, right?
No. I mean, whenever I find something, I'm like, hey, that's weird. I usually just look it up, and I'm like, there is the full story about it. So I'm always trying to have a whole plate of all sides of the story.
How was it writing for Blue?
It's always so fun writing for Blue because he's very precocious, he does, and sometimes we'll be writing and like, does this feel too like an adult? But then Ethan comes and performs it, and it's like, it's perfect, like that whole speech he gives is almost weirdly like you're almost better when you're super nerded out. Like that speech you gave in the baby shower too was so great.
Thanks.
Like he's, as an actor, he'll take in the lines and he just like gets really like into it.
Do you find it writing for the different characters? Do you have to like figure out each of their voices? How do you guys usually do it? Do you arrange it by character and each writer writes for a character? How do you work that out?
No, we break all the stories together. Ava will always say, any of the plot or the exposition needs to be grounded in a character. Mm-hmm. So like half of the time when we're really trying to come up with like a story point like this, it's like, because the show always has like a little bit of like history lessons and really interesting, we touch on interesting, wild topics, but if it's not grounded in that character, usually it'll get cut, So, but after 7 seasons too, like I just know these people. Like I feel like they're, I feel like they're my family too. Like I started as a fan, and it's like I just can picture a Nova speech. I can picture a Kofi, a Ralph Angel speech. I picture Blue's speeches. Although Blue's really good at improv too. He throws in little
lines, keeps it
one-liners.
Keeps it lively. When you're out, in your everyday life as Ethan, do people recognize you as Blue?
Yeah, that is definitely fun when it happens. Like one of the times, like I think it was right after we had finished, I went to a restaurant in New Orleans, and the person right next to us, and it was so funny when she came over. I was like, "Are you Blue?" And I mean, during the pandemic, I kind of missed it because. Like, you never truly have gratitude for it until you don't have it. So, I mean, it's really fun, and I'm always happy when I can bring joy to somebody's day. Because I know how I would feel if I saw somebody who I'm a huge fan of in a movie. So, I always want to... That's how I would want my idol to respond to me. Like, I would want to respond the same way to somebody who feels the same way about me.
I think that's great, but no one ever recognizes the director or the writers.
No, not really.
Nobody ever comes up, Shaz Bennett.
No. Last night there was like, we did this big event at the DGA, and Oprah was there and Ava was there. So every once in a while, someone who had just seen us will say, "Hey, Shaz," but most of the time they don't recognize the writer-directors. That's okay. I like it behind the camera.
From Blue's point of view, do you think that Blue knows everything that's going on with the family, with the farm? that his dad is losing the farm right now in the story, or does Blue not know?
I think Blue knows in more of a emotional and general sense, because me as Ethan, like, I know if something's off, I can always like sense it in somebody. So I think Blue kind of has that same feeling about it, where he's like, something's off, but it could be me. I don't know fully, and I'm gonna play along with this in a kind of way. So I think it's more of a half-half, where he has that hunch about it, but it's not all that sure. And he would like to know the truth.
He'd like to know the truth. I mean, that battle of holding on to the land versus the farmers versus the Landrys, it's been a age-old battle on the show.
Yeah.
This episode really kind of ratchets it up, because the farmers are going to try to band together and go down and save Parthena's land.
Yeah.
But Sam Landry doesn't let that happen.
That's Sam Landry.
When you're writing that and you're trying to figure out how the actors should respond, how the characters would respond, how do you guys as a writing team channel that? How do you figure out what the moments should be?
We did a lot of research on, black farms and co-ops and how they stay together and how they get torn apart. And one of the things that they do is that, if they've got their land together, outside forces are just trying to pick them off and take a little bit less and a little bit less. So we've done a lot of research. We interviewed a couple of people that own farms. We interviewed the owner of this farm, the Soulfire Farms in New York, and she gave us a lot of great ideas. And then, Ava had an idea that I can't really give away too much, but it's going to come up in 713. Ava had specific beats that we were working towards, because she kind of knew where it was going to end. So we definitely, there's certain things in that storyline we needed to lay in over the season to make it pay off. So it kind of, it's so devastating. Parthena lost her land, and, there's a really insane amount of stories where that's real true, and we try and be as accurate as possible and realistic, I mean,
I think
highlighting something.
A lot of people will resonate, that story will resonate, especially kind of post-COVID, as the laws have changed about the ability for people to rescue their property from repossession from banks or landlords, or trying to just figure out how to survive. It feels like, regardless of if there's some, land baron trying to take the land, or if you're just a regular person that just finds yourself in a position not being able to make your bills work, that story seems to be very, very present day.
Yeah, for sure. And the debt relief bill was like all ready to go, and all the farmers had put in their paperwork, and then this lawsuit came up claiming reverse discrimination. It's still on hold. Still hasn't been settled,
Yeah.
So
I mean, and that's really at the core of this story, right? I mean, these farmers were hoping for relief, and it didn't happen.
They could have just got that little bit of money. You're working for that if you get that $20,000, that's going to save you till harvest time. You know, so
right.
So I mean, it was really it was fun to kind of figure out all those details, but then it's also, you don't want to get too lost in the details.
No, of course not.
I gave you a whole lesson on how the farm debt relief, but that's not going to be great television. So you try and ground it in a story and a character we love, Parthena. So
well, talking about good television, while Darla is up dealing with Blue and the principal, Ralph Angel's left back in St. Joe's with the baby by himself. What do you think? Now, we feel reasonably good after seeing the episode that Ralph Angel would know what to do. What do you think? Could Kofi deal with the baby by himself? He does have a dog he takes care of. So
he does, lady. I think he could do it.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right.
He could do it.
All right. Well, regardless, either he was a really good actor because he handled it well, or he could really handle it himself.
I think he can handle it himself.
What do you think is in store for the family, for Ralph Angel, Darla, True, and Blue? Blue is coming home. You're going to be back in with the family. Do you think it goes on as normal? What do you think happens?
I think there's kind of that energy about like something's off that my parents don't want to tell me, and with that, I don't know if we will be able to enjoy everything there, but he's going to try to play along with it and hopefully bring everybody together where we can all be happy.
Blue's the glue.
Blue's the glue. They used to say that. Did you ever hear anyone say that?
Yes, many times.
Yeah, that's what they used to say all the time. When you're on set, often we have a stand-in for you, which is another little boy who is going to end up wearing the exact same clothes as you. We're going to cut his hair so it looks very similar to yours. He's usually
Every
about your
once
same
in a while,
height.
he gets in.
Every once in a while. Is that weird to have like this doppelganger on set that's like, from a distance? Like, is that, oh, no, that's not Ethan. That's, what's that like having someone else dressed exactly like you every day?
I think it's pretty cool because when I think about it, I'm like, we should switch places.
It's like having a twin almost, huh?
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of like having an on-set twin, which is fun.
What's his name? Sean?
Sean, Sean and Austin.
Yeah. So sweet.
Yeah, we've had two different ones because the kids grow at different heights and times, and trying to match that up was always a challenge. But it will at least always another kid on set for you to be around.
Yeah.
Because if not, it would just be a bunch of crew members and cast members and you. What was that process like? I know you, Shaz mentioned it and you posted it on Twitter, just like walking off the set for the last time.
That was really sad. I mean, I've been to that stage so many times, and it's like to leave it is someone's like leaving a self of yourself behind and knowing that you can't necessarily come back to it.
You said it earlier, that you had, basically spent half your life.
More than half.
Yeah, more than half your life.
I'm 12 now, so it's
just over half.
Yeah.
This has been such a defining part of your childhood. Much as many of us could talk about, I went to a certain elementary school, or I did a trip to Disneyland. You spent this, period of time, 6 years, 7 seasons on a show, building a character of Blue. Do you think parts of Blue stay with you from now on forever?
Definitely. I mean, I feel like every project, every character I've played, it sticks with you because when you think of it, you're just kind of reorganizing yourself or rearranging yourself, almost like this is one metaphor I use. It's like you're shining a flashlight, but you put different filters there, and I feel like the filters stay there, and I use them in my life, and I think everybody kind of melts together into me and who I am.
What were your favorite scenes to shoot? What did you enjoy the scenes which you guys did just as a family? Did you like it when we did like the bigger scenes with everybody? What were your favorite
definitely
times?
love the bigger scenes with everybody because it's like I get to see everybody, and then like just the family scenes are also really fun because you get to really connect with the Bordelon family. But I have to say both of any scene I do is always so much fun.
The things that we always look forward to when we would get the scripts and we'd have to start figuring out, we're going to shoot, the schedule for the week. And there was always, from season to season, it depends on the where it happens, but there's always a moment where the whole family gets together for a dinner.
Yeah.
Just like a regular family, they have a big family dinner. And those were always very long days because we had to shoot our way around the table, to get everybody's reaction. Everybody had a glance, a moment where Blue looks at Darla or Ralph Angel looks at Hollywood.
Yeah.
You had to capture all those moments. So it always took all day. But and you guys always had to have all that food. We had to refresh the food and refresh the food.
One thing I do like about food scenes is especially when I can eat them. For one of the scenes, the chicken shears scene, those nuggets I was actually eating. I didn't eat lunch because I'm like, I am so full.
Yeah, you knew that you were going to be
so
full.
That was one of those improvs. He and Omar. Chicken cheers.
But on those big family day scenes, I felt like it was always, when I think back on them, each of them had like a special moment to it, but it was almost like it was a Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Like you were getting together with your family and you guys were going to share an experience. Yeah. And it was always a big deal to get everybody to set because you all had to go through hair and makeup. You had to get your hair cut, and that always took time. It was just a big deal to get everybody there at one time.
Those scenes are so fun and so much work.
It's the work balance flow.
Yeah. But I love all those scenes. That was one of the hardest things for me was the last time we were in Vi's house because that table is just such a character, you know. And I remember I turned to Ava and I was like, "This is the last scene we're gonna shoot in Vi's house. They're gonna tear it down tomorrow."
I know. You know, we took all those sets down.
They
They're
did?
all gone. Yep, all the sets are gone now.
You guys took lots of photos.
We did. We actually have a great time lapse of the sets coming down. We have to send it to you so you can see it.
But then also I'd throw in, going back to Kofi and the baby. That baby really grew on Kofi. Like initially, I don't think she was that trusting of him, but near about this episode, she was good. She was like, she really liked him. So I do think he could handle it.
Yeah.
And Twan, we brought back, Brian Michael Smith, and it was so great to have these two dads in the Baby and Me class.
That Baby and Me class. Yeah, I remember doing Baby and Me classes when my kids were young.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think you were talking about it earlier. I loved when the baby would sleep on set.
I know.
And she was snoring.
I
thought that was
the
amazing.
cutest thing.
Oh, but you know what her double was? This I have to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
So her double was, you know this, right?
Yeah.
The double was a doll. And somebody on set put thick eyebrows, a mustache, a Band-Aid, and a tattoo on the other arm. It was a whole thing, and the whole set was
So disrespectful. That poor doll.
Sounds like our props department.
Yep. Double of Daisy was really had a hard life.
Yes, yeah. I think there was a number of Instagram posts about the baby, the double baby, for a while because it was so challenging. One of the big moments in this episode, near the end of the episode, was Prosper.
Yeah.
Prosper's about to go through some changes. Things are happening. Why don't you tell us about
it? It was so sweet. Yeah, Prosper proposed to Sandy, took the opportunity to pull out his trumpet, show off, showboat around a little bit, and that was so sweet. Then we had Black Indian come, which is so cool, and it's like, there was like that was another big long day, because we had all those different little sequences. Stacey Mohammed directed this episode. It was just so great.
I think it was the first time we've had an Indian on the show, right? I mean,
I think that's what they said. I think Brent, our extras casting, mentioned. I think there was maybe one other time in the first season.
Yeah.
But we're this whole season, Ava and I talked a lot about like wanting to like send a love letter to the city and bring back characters that we loved over the last 7 seasons. Mm-hmm. I had a lot more that Paul, who pays for everything, said pulled back.
Yeah, sometimes we can't afford all the bells and whistles, and we can get some of them though. What was this season? Micah has really kind of leaned into this, modern day concept of monetizing his art. Yeah. And he sells, this piece and is really kind of leaning into it. What do you think draws Micah to that world?
Yeah, I mean that's been kind of a fun world too. Like I still don't wholly understand how NFTs work, but I did a lot of research.
I know a good bit of
tell
NFT.
us.
NFT stands for non-fungible token. So it's basically it is a specific copy of the art that basically has like a tag on it. Mm-hmm. So it can be duplicated. Like you can take a screenshot, but the actual piece with the tag, which is made official, cannot be redone.
Yeah.
What I have to say was the most interesting one is somebody sold a Twitter response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sold their tweet.
They just sold their tweet.
Mm-hmm.
It was a picture. I'm like,
yeah.
How?
Would you sell any of your sister's art as a NFT?
I'd have to talk to her first.
Uh-oh.
Comes to some agreements there.
Okay,
But maybe. Possible.
Okay.
Really good.
As you've delved into that world, though, what do you think? Is there things that you would put in as an NFT?
I don't think I have anything that's particularly sellable as an NFT, but it is interesting. Like, it's a very interesting world, and a lot of photographers are making a living. Are finally being able to actually sell their artwork on the internet, and so we were kind of interested in that. But then there's sort of two minds. Like, what kind of things sell. And right now, a lot of the stuff that sells is a little kind of maybe questionable or like exploitive, whereas like there's some of these new black and brown and queer collectives that are doing something really different in Web3, you know? So,
well, I think you guys pose it. I mean, it's interesting. Micah really starts leaning into this nexus of who he is as a character with his activism, kind of the roots of, you know, his parents, his aunt, and trying to really figure out who he is as an artist and how he vibes in that world. Does he fold into it? Does he stand out in it? I mean, in all of it, I mean, you know, Micah, that character's grown up from being a high schooler to an adult. Much how Blue is turned from, you know, a little bitty kid to being a teenager almost. Yeah. Because you just had a birthday, right?
Last week.
September
7th.
Wow, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Each of you guys have grown up so much. We watched the trailer for season 1 yesterday, and I was shocked at how young Kofi and Bianca and everybody looked. But you looked like a little bitty kid. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And Nick Ash looked so young.
Yeah. Well, now he has a full beard.
I know they dress, you know, I'm sure they also cut his hair shorter and shaved.
We
you know?
we would have to shave Nick twice a day when in the beginning season.
When he was trying to be a high school
Yeah, when
kid.
he was trying to be a high school. Because he was really, you know, he turned 21 our first season. His 21st birthday was the first week we were shooting.
Yeah.
I think I actually remember his birthday.
Yeah, I think you came by.
Faintly.
Yeah, I think you guys came by.
So long ago.
So long ago. It was half your life ago. That's a long time.
It was.
But Nick, we used to have to shave him because by the afternoon, his beard would start growing back.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It would grow back so fast.
Yeah.
He was so happy. He would call Ava and be like, can Micah grow a beard? Can he grow a mustache?
Yeah.
Because we were literally having to shave him twice a day. So now he has a full beard, and it's great because you could really see how that character changed from high school Micah to kind of college, post-college Micah.
I know, like right before the season, I rewatched the entire, 6 seasons because I wanted to make sure I'd seen everything. And Micah is a really interesting character, like where he started, where he is now. And this is a fun season for him. I really think he kind of really does come into his own.
Yeah. And I think everybody was happy to see Kiki back.
Yeah. I know, she's so cute.
Another one that's kind of grown up on the show. Kiki was actually over 21 when we started.
I know, Danielle is so great. And she's, like, now she's, like, the first time we see her in the Ashe Cultural Center, she's got this beautiful braid, and she's, like,
she's
grown up.
Yeah, she's grown. It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, as we get to the end of this, Ethan, I'd love for you to just talk real quick just about the whole Queen Sugar experience. What was it like for you?
I mean, it's incredible. Like, I can't even put it in words. It's to be a part of something for that long, and when you know people and have a connection with people for that long, they almost become your second family, the Queen Sugar family. And I hope that this project will live on with other people for a very long time.
I think that's the magic of television is that, from years from now, people will still be watching shows and reliving moments, and hopefully the stories we told will be universal and they'll find some importance to it in the future, if not just capturing the moment of what we were doing at the time. Because it was, I think one of the things that the show does so well is, really capture current times well. Even, what was it, season 5, where they have, the talk with Blue about, interacting with the police, or talking about, the idea of family and legacy. All those things are just kind of universal things that would, I would hope stand the test of time.
I think so. I mean, season 5, and, I know that was a tough season for everyone, and but rewriting that whole season to really capture the Bordelones in this moment is so great. Like, it's such a smart time capsule of that really intense time we all went through.
We always talk about the writing and the big pivot that we made on the writing, but I mean, you remember as an actor, we made you guys stand sequestered in a hotel the whole time. What was that like?
Actually, it was fun. It was for this last season. It was me and my dad, so we had a lot of fun times together. But I do miss it when we were all together in it. So
yeah, COVID changed a lot of how we make shows. Just
definitely
we don't have as many extras. We don't have guests on set. It all really changed after
doubles.
COVID. Yeah, no more doubles.
I know. I look forward to the time when we're all back on. We'll have to do a Blue spin-off.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I would hope that would happen. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
I never actually thought about that. A Blue spinoff.
You could do Blue at boarding school. You like that, huh? We'll see. All right. Well, it's going to be real hard to ask a question that Shaz doesn't know because she's so deep into the show. I have one that might be hard enough for you, maybe. When Blue has to learn to defend himself after being messed with at school, he gets advice from his mother and his father on what to do if it happens. And I'm going to tell you what the advice was, and you have to tell me who said it.
Okay.
One of Blue's parents says, all it takes is one jab under the nose and he'll stop. The other parent says, you got to come at him from the side. And you've got to take him and start tickle fighting with him. So which parent said which thing?
I think Darla said the first line.
Which one? The one where you have to...
One punch in the nose.
I actually agree with you there.
And then
I don't remember, though.
Then Ralph Angel said tickle.
You're right.
Yes.
All right. You would think that it would be the opposite.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking up. Ralph Angel he's sweet at heart.
He's a teddy bear, huh?
So is Darla.
Definitely.
There's an episode where Blue is playing outside and something happens that scares Ralph Angel and he comes running out there and Blue finds something in the yard, in the lawn. Do you remember what it was?
It was a drone.
It was a drone.
I remember that scene.
You remember it
very well. It was at the beginning of the intro Carton Queen Sugar.
It is,
That's
yeah,
that
right.
scene where
It's the scene. You're
jumping
running.
up and down.
And then you go out and you find a drone out there. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, nice one.
I thought I was going to get you with that one. Well, it was wonderful having this talk with you guys, talking about
Thanks, Paul.
episode 4. I know there's all kind of good things coming up in the next episode. So we'll see what happens.
Which I directed.
Which you direct, I know. And thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thanks, Ethan. I keep going to call you Blue. They're just blue to me.
Ethan, I'm Blue. And I'm wearing blue. Yes, I am wearing blue. I did not realize that. That is completely happenstance.